Okay, some quick Bandleader 101 thoughts about putting together a bill. Obviously, when you're a band leader and you're booking the band, there are going to be times where you're either asked by the venue to put together a bill, or you think it's a good idea to put together a bill for a particular venue to maximize attendance or some other factor. Sometimes the venue is going to take that responsibility on themselves. Let's talk about the times, which is definitely, in my experience, the lion's share of the times where it falls to you. Okay, so you're the headliner. You're putting this thing together, and here's one template that I like to try to work towards if you can make this happen. It's important to remember what you're really shooting for here is that every piece of the puzzle brings something to the table, and that the whole is therefore greater than the sum of its parts, that we all kind of benefit from each other in some way. And we all have kind of a role to fill. So I like to have the first act be someone who's dynamic, who's talented, who's engaging, and is willing and able to play a shorter set, about 30 minutes with a 5-minute changeover. This could be like a singer-songwriter or a duo, something simple. Doesn't matter as long as we have a quick transitions. I think is very important that everybody be on the same page, and that includes making that happen with the logistics of having a shared backline, at the very minimum having a shared drum set and having negotiated that out and how that's going to work. But you're going to start with someone who's going to set the tone, who's going to win over the room for people who are just happen to be here, who are walk-ins off the street and are making their decision: should we stick around for this or should we go? You want that first performer to tilt the field and be the kind of dynamic, enjoyable presence where let's stick around and see what's going on and then build from there. Like I said, you want to have a quick turnaround. Then I think next it's you, the headliner. You come next, and you need to definitely deliver, and you're going to do about an hour and 20 minutes. And if there's any kind of delays, like you got off to a slow start or there's a technical issue, first and foremost, that needs to come out of your time. You need to step forward and be the time manager and not make other people pay the price of the mishaps that may and do occur. Certainly, if everyone has to bite the bullet and everyone needs to trim their set a little bit, that's fair. That's certainly something that you can, basically put forth that, hey, everyone needs to cut 5 minutes from their set, but you have to cut from your set. Anyway, you need to deliver. You need to be thinking about how you're going to win over the people who, this opener got some people to sit and check this out, and you need to keep them there. So you need to deliver your very best set. You're also trying to cross-talk into the other people who the other acts have brought. That's part of the benefit of having a bill, is exposing each other's fan bases to other acts they might like, to other like acts. And so when you're putting this together, you need to be thinking about that. Like, do we go together well? Do we go together from the perspective of the people who like me and are going to come out here? Am I going to do them a favor by introducing them to some music that I think that they're also going to like? So you do about an hour, 20 minutes, again, 5-minute switch, and then an hour at the end for the closer. And the closer should be, a band who could have headlined, a band who's got a lot of material and is dynamic and engaging. If there's a little bit louder or a little bit more complicated stage setup, that's okay. This is, as the evening progresses, this is the time where it can get just a little bit, you can loosen the reins a little bit. But they should be someone who has their own draw that's comparable to yours, and that, maybe there's a little bit of overlap, but that you're introducing each other's, like I mentioned, you're introducing each other's fans to each other. Everybody needs to get paid, and you got to work out some system that's fair, whether it's based on time or just even shares, or it's based on every playing member going to get an equal share, something that on its face is fair, even if it's, there's many different ways that it can be fair, and you got to pick the one that makes the most sense to you. But don't do this thing that some people do, where they're like, well, I'm the headliner and I'm getting paid and you guys are just here for exposure. Your band, these bands are just here for exposure. Like they should just be happy to be having the opportunity. That's not how to do this. Like you need to be a plain dealer, straight shooter. Fair is fair. Like if money gets made, and there's not going to be much money made, most likely. If money gets made, it gets distributed to everybody who made that happen, who had a hand in making that happen. Another thing that I think you need to be very careful about not doing is not just putting people on the bill who are like friends you who want a chance to play, but they're not quite ready for prime time. If you are going to do that, that is a person who needs to be kind of in a closing slot, where you don't want to make the mistake of you're putting them up front. They'll open and they'll turn on. They may have the potential to not be engaging or to make those sort of fence riders decide, it doesn't look like this is going to be a very good show. You don't want any kind of amateur hour to lead the charge. And I would argue not to have any amateur hour on a bill that's important to you. Although there are times where, when you're networking and making those kind of relationships with other artists, you do want to, give somebody an opportunity. You need to dictate where that's going to go. And I would say that should go further back if there's any question about whether or not they're fully ready for this in any sense, whether they have enough material, they're polished enough, they're whatever it may be. That would be a closing kind of opportunity. That's kind of it in a nutshell. So you want to make sure that the venue is happy with what you deliver and that they don't feel like you brought a bunch of weak links, and that they see that people had a great time and it's reflected in the tabs, and that you did a good job of putting it together, and hopefully get asked to do it again. All right, so until next time.